I've got my mower back here and I'm going to get it ready for mowing season. My wife loves mowing and I let her, but I've got to take care of this mower so she can flawlessly mow those yards this summer. Yeah, I'm Marv from Marv's Fixit shop. I fix and repair things in this old shop. I've been doing it for years actually, off and on during my work time. But in this particular video, I'm not only going to share with you how I service this mower, but I'm also going to share something that I've never done in this shop before. But it's going to come towards the end of the video when I sharpen the blades on this thing. So let's get right after it. What does it take to service a mower like this? I'll tell you what I try to do on each service job. Check the air cleaner, run the oil out, put new oil in it, new oil filter, grease, check the spark plugs, check the tire pressures, change the blades, sharpen or change, at least examine the blades, check the belts, check the terminals on the battery and make sure the battery's up to snuff. Oh, the last thing I do is I wash it down real good. Actually, I do that ahead of time so I don't have so much dirt to deal with. But that's basically what I do when I service a mower like this. What kind of tools are you going to need? Well, let me show you. I use several tools, and I also am going to show you the materials that I use, but there's one essential tool, well, not tool, yeah, it is kind of, that you have to do this job correctly. And let me show you what that is right out of the gate. It's a good cup of coffee. And don't be afraid to stop and take breaks once in a while. Maybe yours isn't coffee. Maybe it's a bottle of water or a can of pop or whatever. But coffee here is what I drink. Usually in the mornings mostly. Okay, the first thing is the oil. It's going to take oil. I use Napa 10W40. It's a good summer oil. I don't know if you're a fan of this, but any good motor oil, 10W40 is what I use. Check your specs to see what you need. I use this Fram oil filter, and it works good. It's the right size for me and my mower. When I check the battery terminals, I usually spray some cleaner on them and some protection. You'll need a wrench or some way to get your oil filter off. And with that, you'll need a drain pan. That's the one I use right there. Sometimes a light comes in handy, a funnel for the oil. I've got a grease gun here. I've got a set of metric wrenches. I have a spark plug wrench. And then I have a deep well impact socket on my impact here to take the bolts off the blades. And when you do that, you need a set of leather gloves so you don't cut your fingers. Wire brush to clean the spark plugs off or any other areas. I do have a filler gauge to check the gaps. I have my air tool stuff here to check the tire pressures. Then I have a set of blades to put back on it. I usually carry two sets. I have one on and one off in case there's a rock or stump that tears up a blade. Shop rags always comes in handy. And for those of you who don't like dirty fingernails or grease on your hands, a set of these gloves. I normally don't use them. I'm still old school. We never grew up with that. And I guess at my age, I don't care if my fingernails are a little dirty. But that's pretty much it on the tools and the products you'll need. You can service your whole mower in probably an hour or two, depending on how familiar you are with it, at a cost of about, maybe $15, depending on how much you spend on your oil and your filter. Normally, I like to start my engine and let it warm up a little bit so the oil runs out. And draining the oil is usually the first thing I do, because I can do other things while this is draining. It's raining like cats and dogs out there right now, so I'm not going to start this up and warm it up. I do have a pan underneath right here. Don't know if you can see it. I have a wrench on the oil drain. You can see that this right here is the oil drain. It's a little dirty, so I'm going to wipe it off and try to get some of the grub off of it. Although that has no way of getting into your system. Keeps your hands a little cleaner. I usually crack the fill area. It's up on top. And once a little bit of this oil drains out, I can crack this a little too, but I like to get most of it out so I don't spill too much. Let's see if we can open that. The oil's running out. We'll just let that run. It's pretty black, so it needed changed. I change oil once a year on this. We don't put a lot of hours on it. It's a commercial mower we bought for out in the farm. Still running out good. Well, that's draining. Let's pop the air cleaner off. Cover. That looks like it's in pretty good shape yet. All I need to do is blow that out a bit and we should be good to go. And that's why I've got my air compressor. I'll need to start it and get this blown out. First thing I do usually is just blow the inside of this out. Get it nice and clean. And I grab my folder like this, and from the inside I blow it out. And it doesn't take long to figure out if you need to replace it. This one is going to be good for another year, but I think for sure next year I'll have to replace this thing. Let me finish cleaning it up and we'll get it back in. The filter's ready to go back in. We'll stick this in first. It fits right in there, and then we'll put this on and we'll put this back in. It doesn't hurt to do that with that if there's any dirt accumulated in there. That's just what you're supposed to do, I guess. Let's see here, where are we? There we go. Let's look at these spark plugs. I've loosened this one up, haven't had it out. The plugs are right in here. Here's the spark plug boot. Might take a needle nose to pull that off. Sometimes they're hard to get off. Let's get this plug out of here and see what it looks like. Overall, that plug looks real good. Since I have it out, I'll get my wire brush over there and brush that off and check the gap, and we'll put her back in. Right at 30, that's perfect. We'll put that back in, see if I can get it started. And to make sure you get these started correctly, and if it doesn't go in pretty easily by hand, I would strongly suggest you backing it back out and trying again, because you can very easily cross thread these things, reaching in like that. And if you do that, then you could be in trouble. This is going in pretty good. I know it's lined up right. So let's get the ratchet end on it and speed this up a little. There we go. Just give it a little bit of a snug like that. You could torque those if you want, and you probably should, but I didn't. I need to go over and do the other side just like this side. I got that other plug in and out. It was about the same as this side over here, and well, that got done with that. I cleaned the tire off to see what the pressure is supposed to be in this tire, and it says 18 pounds. And let's just see what we have here. Says we have 10. I would say we're a little low. Doesn't take a whole lot in these smaller tires to get where you need to be, so let's check it. Oh, shoot. Boy, that didn't do much. Oh, no wonder it wasn't going in. Now I can hear it. I'm getting too old to be down on my hands and knees like this. I don't want to invest in a lift for this. Let's see what we have now. Just above 20, so I put a little too much in it. We'll let a little out. That little nubbin on the back side of this is how you do that. Just let a little bit out at a time and check it again. Boy, that's real close, within a pound. I'm going to let just a hair more out. It's right on. Put the cap back on and I'll get the rest of these tires done. One like this on the other side, and then the two smaller front ones. Okay, we have the tires done, we have the spark plugs done, and we have the oil cleaner. Let's take this old oil filter off. I've loosened it, and can see it. We'll dump out any residual oil there. And I wanted to show you, I always date on the back side the date I changed it. It looks like March at 24. It had 226 hours on it. I always put a little oil on this rubber gasket right here so it doesn't wrinkle when you go to turn it on. Went ahead and put the information on. And let's just screw that right back into place. Before we do that, I want to clean that up just a little bit. Okay, let's put this thing on there. Uh-oh, there she goes on. Again, you want to make darn sure you don't cross-thread that thing. And a lot of times, if your strength is good enough, all you need to do is put that on as tight as you can with your hand. That's all I can give it. Okay, we have the new filter on. Now let's go ahead and shut this drain plug down here. And I'll need to see how much oil goes in this Kawasaki engine. I don't remember. I need to keep or take notes on that sort of thing. But I haven't. Don't over tighten that. We got the spark plugs on. We got the air filter, the oil new filter. Tires are full. We're almost ready to put oil in that thing. Well, we're ready to add the oil. Like I said, I have 10W40 Napa motor oil here. The specs call for 2.2 liters, which I looked that up just now, and I think that's about, it's not 2.5 quart, but it's getting right there. You see how I'm pouring that? I always put the spout up. That way you don't get that gulp, gulp, gulp. And it naturally breathes that way. We'll put 2 quarts in. We'll start it up and let it, oops, a little too fast. And we'll let that folder get filled up and then we'll shut it off. Let it run here just for a little bit, enough to pump that oil up. That's long enough. Well, that oil is draining down. I'm going to take this off and just double check my connections, maybe clean them. At least spray a little bit of that cleaner on. Let's just see what it looks like with one of the bolts off. We may not take the other one completely off, but let's check at least one. You can see that that's just a little bit dirty, so we're going to clean it off with a wire brush. Well, that helped it. And we will brush this also. Make sure we get really good contact. And then we'll spray this with that contact cleaner. It's actually battery terminal cleaner. We'll just squirt a little bit on that and let that do its thing, and then we'll clean that off. Let's get this bolted back down, tighten back up. Oh, gotta be careful. Do you see them sparks fly? It's what happens when you get careless. Let's tighten this up. That cleaner sure did a good job. I'll show you. We'll put that like that, and we'll snug it up. Ah, perfect. And we'll take this terminal protector and put on it just all over, and we'll let that dry. I cleaned this and I put that protective stuff over it, and that'll dry now. Got this one all done over here, the positive. There's check the belts, they're fine, and I need to grease it yet. What I do is I try to wipe the greaser off the best that I can. And in my shop, I have a battery operated grease gun. It's, you don't need this. You can get by with just a regular grease gun. But I find it difficult to get twisted around and in places that require sometimes, so I bought this. Let's see if it'll take grease. I must be out of grease in that thing. Not to fear, I have another one here that I pulled out of the trash. It wasn't working, but I got it running. Let's see if I can fill this up. There, it's starting to come out. You can see it right there. That's when I quit. I'm gonna get the other side now. Now I'm to the part where I told you that I was gonna share something with you that I've never done in this shop before. But I hope you enjoy what you're about to see. I'm going to be as safe as I can trying to do it. I don't even know if it's going to work, but in the old days it did. Let me show you what I'm talking about. What you see here is probably 125, maybe even 150-year-old block and tackle and rope attached to my mower. I'm going to see if I can lift it My grandpa and great-grandpa would have used one similar to this in their barn building. And I thought I wanted to give it a shot here in my shop to see if I could actually pick up this mower with it. Set up properly, and today that would have lifted this with no problem at all. But I don't know. It's old. We'll be safe with it. If I do get it up high enough to change my blades, I will prop the mower up. But let's see if it's going to work. I honestly don't know if it will or not, but let's give it a shot. What you do is, this is a 2-pulley setup, and let's see what happens. Oops, I forgot to do something. I want to unlock the brake. That way, as it comes up, it'll come this way. A lot of times they would have had 2 guys on a rope, or maybe even a horse. But look at that. This mower's heavy. Look at that. Look at that. It's bringing it right up. They'd get it up so high, and then what they would do is tie it off. I'm going to tie this off right here, and then I will run this through so it can't come down. But I want to show you this so you can see what I've done. That's high enough to change the blades, but I'm not going to trust this old system. I'm going to prop this mower up so I'm sure it can't fall down. So let me get the stuff around for that. My hope is that you can see that bolt under there. I don't know if you can or not. And I'm not 100% sure this little impact will loosen those nuts. The one I normally use, the impact I normally use is on another building, but it's this nut right here. And let's see if it'll come off. And also, I don't have my impact socket that I normally use for this. But let's see what happens. That isn't going to break loose like that. I guess I'm going to have to go get my other tools. I'm going to bring this jack stand down right here so you can see that I do have it propped up so that if it does come down, I got one on the other side too. Now if this wrench doesn't do it, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might have to lower it back down and try to get the mower to flip out. These mowers are designed to flip out, but this old boy just isn't strong enough to do that anymore. Now let's see if this will work. It worked. Let's get the other blade and put it on right away. One year I put a blade on upside down, and my wife kept saying the mower doesn't seem to mow right, and I just thought it was her and her mowing. But you know what? It was me. I did put anti-seize on that nut. So I'll make sure I get the blade on the right way. Let me just do one at a time. What do you think of that, buddy? That's tight enough. But that's how you change the blades, except turn your wrench the right way and have the right tools to begin with. So let me get these other 3 done, and then when I come to lowering it, I'll let you watch me lower. I got the blades on. Now all that's left to do is see how this comes down. I'm going to undo the brake first. And I'm going to pull the jack stands out from under it. Got one on each side. And next I'm going to untie it. Without losing it. She's untied. Now let's lower it. Look at that. Can really control it. Let me set the brake again. Wasn't that interesting now? I've never used a block and tackle before. It's kind of like the chain hoist, but old school. It worked really good. An old friend of mine brought that in here and asked me if I wanted it to restore, and I said sure. But I'm not sure that I need to restore anything on that. What do you think of the overall service? What did I miss? How would have you done it differently? What did you think of the old block and tackle? If you found value in my videos, I would sure appreciate a subscription or subscribing if you would subscribe. If you like videos like this, look right here and you'll see them. Watch one of them if you're interested in this. Can it be fixed? Sure it can. Can you fix it? You're darn right you can fix it. Until the next time.